Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Heather.
We're here. We're live.
Heather Moore coming to us from the office that she rarely uses.
Yes.
Despite how lovely the backdrop. Is that even real, Heather? Are those books is that fake? Is that like one of those Zoom
It's
backdrops?
totally real. Yeah.
Is it?
I have books that I've either written or researched books or books that are from different authors.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking closely. I don't see a Jason F. Wright novel up there. So
you're over here. You're on my author friend shelf.
Author friend. Sure I am. Well, we might have to have you verify that later. So as we get started, let's go over here and share this on my pages, multiple pages, all kinds of pages, so many pages.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's see. Please hold.
We're just waiting for people to join us. It works out.
Perfect. And this will be available forever, right?
Yeah. And I can also turn it to YouTube.
Very fancy. I do not see it. Oh, there I am. I'm looking at myself delayed. Lagging. Okay, perfect. All right, so that's perfect. So this gives you time to swear because I know that you do have something of a salty vocab. So this little delay will give us time to bleep out anything that might be inappropriate for our family audience. Don't you think? Doesn't that feel right?
I agree. We need that 2-second delay for sure.
Yeah, okay. So that's shared. Okay, so let's share this over here. You're going to regret asking me to do this if you don't already. Let's put this thing over here. We are live.
So we should also be able to see comments coming in on the side of your screen. And I have it streaming to 3 places, so I'm hoping, oh yeah, there's a comment. That's from my daughter, Kara.
Hi, Kara.
So she's studying for a big test she has to take tomorrow, and so this is sacrificing her time.
Kara, 3 extra heaven points for you for being here.
So she actually had a cool experience with me. She went with me on June 30th this last summer, and she was with me when we did the video interview of Bob Inama.
Very cool.
So she got to meet him and everything and hear his story.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity there, which we will talk about, I'm sure. Okay, so let me make sure that worked. This worked. So the one thing we're going to have to figure out, Miss Heather B. Moore, is we're going to run some... Hello, Stephen Funk. We are so glad you have joined us. I will be quizzing you later on today's live stream. My question is, we're going to run... I guess we'll run them on my page. We're going to run a couple little contests, giveaway deedly-doos, where people are going to need to... So where are you seeing comments? On the Shadow Mountain page?
So I'm actually on our StreamYard platform.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay.
So people... there'll be comments across the board. So we may not be able to see all of them until we're done.
Got it. Oh, well, okay.
But Louise is here. Hi, Louise. She's a fan of both of us.
Really? Or is she just here for the freebies? Really? Okay. So I have no idea. This is StreamYard is a strange world that we're living in here. So I don't see... Okay, I'm going to have to do this. Hold on. Please hold. I'm trying to see on my page, but it's delayed. And so I keep... my mouth.
Yeah, I think you'll see it better on the StreamYard page.
Right.
And then there's like a private tab and a comment tab. So you got to do on the comment and should be able to see the comments. Got it.
Okay. Hi, Louise White Pledge. She's the best. Louise has been following me forever. forever. She has been reading my stuff and been so great and loyal for so long. So welcome. And you know what? Happy stinking book birthday to you. Seriously. How many books have you published now, Heather?
70 something. I don't know.
Just 70 something. Okay, look, that's a big deal. And I hope that this never gets old for you, because this is such an exciting day. Even some of my books that have been a little like smaller with niche presses and things, the day that the book is finally there for the world at large to read, and you're tired of getting feedback from your crazy Aunt Lucy in Boulder, Colorado, who will literally say anything that you write is good. Today, all of that goes away, and people that you've never met that just stumble upon the book, stumble upon a launch party, get an email or an Amazon recommendation. They're going to buy your book today. They're going to read your book. Some are already reading it, I'm sure. Those that are reading ebooks. And that's exciting. I just think launch day is the best. This whole week is just, it's exciting, and it's hard to put into words. And I tell this to a lot of, when I teach writing workshops, I say, look, if all you do is finish your book and it has a release date and you put it on sale and one person buys it who's not related to you,
right?
that is such a great feeling. So congrats on this. Now let me tell the world, I have started the audiobook at 7 o'clock this morning on 1.5 speed, so I could get as far through it as I possibly could. It's fantastic. It is so good. I wanted so badly. You and I have been trying to maybe get through it a little bit more quickly, trying to get me a copy. And I wish that I had a chance to devour the whole thing. But if the next several hundred pages or 4.5 hours, whatever I have left, unfold the way it is so far. The opening is just beautiful. It is so good. And I'm actually not, confession, a huge historical fiction person. That's not really been my jam so much.
That's why I've gone more with your wife than you.
Yes. And you know what? Hello from Cody. She says hello. I don't know if she's watching. She's probably, I don't know, homeschooling a child or curing cancer. Whatever she's doing hopefully she's saving the world. She loves you. She has been following you and your work, especially as we said when you hosted me on my own podcast. She's been a big fan of your work on the Women of the Scriptures as well. So, okay, let's start with a little giveaway.
Yes.
I'll let you decide what you want to give away first.
Okay.
Of the available options. But here's what I want to do. I want everyone watching to go share this right now somewhere. Facebook, Instagram, scream over your backyard fence at your neighbor and tell them to get on the broadcast right now. Go do whatever you have to do to share this in any form. Don't care. Text the link to somebody. Don't even care. And then comment that you have shared it. We'll give you a few minutes to do that while we continue. And then we will close our eyeballs and randomly select someone to win our first little prize. And it will get easier from there. I promise. We're going to give away some cool stuff today. So once you've shared, comments shared. Oh, look at that. Facebook user. Oh, that means so much. Tell us your name, Facebook users.
So some of them will say Facebook user.
They just need to
added StreamYard to some Facebook thing.
Just tell us your name, Facebook users.
Yeah, but we can go on later and look at their actual names. But showing up on StreamYard comments, it's just showing Facebook.
They just need to tell us their names. Facebook people, tell us your names. We cannot see your name in the little doodly doo. Okay.
Yeah.
Heather, how do you feel?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what happened, because we're storytellers. So I can't just say fine or good. I have to tell you the story.
Absolutely. And please take 5 months to do it.
So last night I thought, I wonder if I'm able to sleep. I did sleep. I slept totally fine. And I woke up and I thought, it's today. Today's the day. And then I just felt sad, not because I wasn't excited for the book, but because Bob and Nama is no longer around. And I thought today was his day. But but I think we can still make it his day. And I know his family told me they're still celebrating. He was so excited about this book, and it's not because it's great to have a book on your life come out, but it's not because I'm a great writer or because he had this book coming out. He was so excited because he had finally felt like the last 3 years he could tell a story and he could share what he hadn't been able to share for decades. And I think for him, it was kind of releasing a burden that he had carried. He had only shared it with his wife and a few family members. But he just was so humble and so sweet during the whole process. So I kind of felt sad and then overwhelmed. But I went about my normal morning, and I just really, like right now, I just feel really humbled and really grateful. I've had a lot of people sharing about the book, and I just was literally thinking the heavens for Jason Wright willing to do this. And it really means a lot to me to have support for, and like you mentioned before, I've written a lot of books, but this book is different. This book is written about a man who really is a true hero. And he was able to tell me his story in person, and I was able to write it for him. And it inspired me so much. I started writing in March of 2020, which is, as we know, is when the world as we know it completely changed with the pandemic. But I just found so much inspiration and support and hope through his story as the world was raging around me with a known COVID virus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, we share the same faith, and I know that many Christians across the spectrum of different denominations are probably watching. And it doesn't really matter what church you call home on Saturday or Sunday, in the case of some of my friends here in Virginia that I know are watching. We know that he's still excited about the launch day. You don't get to share it with him in quite the same way, and his family doesn't get to in quite the same way. But I know that you know as well as I know. That's a lot of no's. We all know. We know that he knows that we know that that he is a lot closer than we realize, and it's such a big achievement. I have just a little bit of experience writing about someone living when I wrote the Gail Miller memoir a couple of years ago, and that was a really unique challenge when you're writing fiction, or even about someone from the Bible. They're gone. Right. Or you're fictionalizing their entire lives in your head. It's a very different thing when you're interviewing someone or digging through their journals and diaries and family history and telling a story about someone that is still following along in the reading process. And there's a lot of pressure there. So good for you for tackling it. I do love I love Chris Schobinger. I love that he played such a role in kind of helping make this thing happen. And hopefully he's watching and knows that there are so many authors that have come out of the Shadow Mountain world who owe a great deal to Chris and to his creative instincts, and to Heidi and all the others there in the building that are just tremendous. So, okay. So I just want to remind people that are commenting, all we see is that you are a Facebook user and what time you commented that you've shared it. So if you just go back and say shared in your name, that would be great. Shared in your phone number, shared and your credit card number, that would be even better.
No.
No? Oh, okay. Well, now she's changed her mind. Okay. Look, let's talk about, we're going to give people a little bit longer to share and to comment shared with your name. So do that if you haven't done that yet. And then I want you to tell us a little bit more about that call from Chris and sort of how you came across this really unique project in your career.
Yeah, so it's January 2020, and I had the year before I had signed a 2-book contract with Shadow Mountain, and basically historical fiction based on true stories type of genre. And so I finished and turned in The Paper Daughters of Chinatown, and now it was time for me to pitch my next book. So I had come up with a great heroine and based on a true story. And the committee was just, like they liked it, but they weren't really drawn into it. And for some reason, around the same few weeks, Bob Anama's family contacted my publisher, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that have amazing stories about their parents or grandparents or ancestors, but for whatever reason, this one struck a chord and it got onto Chris Schobinger's desk. And I don't know if I was the 6th or 7th author that he approached. I don't dare ask him. But
that is definitely not
but you're
true.
right. He did call me. He told me, I'm going to email you something that I got from this Bob and Nama's family, and let me know what you think. So I was driving. I pulled over to the next parking lot I could find, and I just pulled it up on my phone and I read it. And my first thought was, wow, this story needs to be told. My second thought was, I don't know if it should be me. Sounded really intimidating. But so I just reached back out to Chris Schobinger and I said, I'm definitely interested. If you feel like it's a good match, and let them know maybe they should read, one of my books or something. So long story short, they were out of town, and for all of us to get together, as you know, it's hard to get more than 2 people together at the same time. We ended up, we're going to meet in person the middle of March. And as we all know, that completely changed. And so the first time I met Bob and his wife, Diane, was through a Skype video call. And everybody had technical difficulties. But we managed to finally all connect. And one of my biggest regrets, though, is I was recording through an app on my phone our first interview. And someone from my daughter's high school called, and I just, rejected the call, but it cut off the recording. I didn't know it. So I only had like 3 minutes of the recorded interview. And so after I found that out, I hurried and typed everything up he had told me. And then, of course, after that, we had dozens of interview, either phone calls or emails after that. But so that's how it all began.
Yeah, that is an intimidating thing for someone to say, here's a story that is book worthy, maybe movie worthy, maybe, it's something that a publisher, publishers don't get behind projects that they're not expecting to really invest. And this is something a lot of readers don't understand.
Yeah.
Books take a significant amount of money and resources and time to get from your head to today, to this great birthday. And so for a publisher to do that and to say, we want to get behind this, they have great faith in it. And that only heightens kind of the pressure a little bit for you. And then for them to choose you. So by the way, Chris Schobinger just texted me. Okay, right there. Can you see what that says? Can you see that word?
I love it. I'll share this heart.
So yes, he was listening, and Heather was at the top of the list. You saw that, right? Yeah, that's the important part, Heather. Come on, look at that.
Okay.
You were at the top of the list, so that's awesome. I didn't get called for sure about that one, so that's okay. You're a better writer. Everyone on the stream knows that. So look, we have a lot of people that have now gone back and commented that they have shared, and they've actually told us who they are. So that's super helpful. So do you want to? Hi, John died. Heather, do you want to pick winners when we're done and just contact them? How do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that. That will just give more people a chance to jump on and comment too. Yeah.
All right. If you're just joining us, please share it. Please tell us you've shared it with your name. That's how you're going to win something fun. And we've got a couple of the little, you know what? Let's do another one right now, because I think this is super fun. All right, folks, we want you to tell us how many words you think were in the first. Was this first or final? You didn't clarify. Of your first draft?
It's pretty much the final. I didn't do a lot of changing.
Okay.
To be.
It was just that good. It was that good.
Well,
she wrote it first draft. She sent it in.
But
Chris said it's perfect, and it went right to press. Okay. All right. So we want to know, folks, what you think her final word count was. The manuscript going to press. What do you think? How many words? We're looking for a number, somewhere between. We'll give them a range, right?
Okay. Good idea.
Somewhere between 60,000, which is generally considered a novel. Anything under 60 is often referred to as a novella. Sometimes people use 50K as the lower threshold, but somewhere around 60,000 words. And we'll say 180,000 words, because real writers, not me, can write and build worlds that are 180,000 words long.
Brandon Sanderson.
Those are big. Yeah. Great point. Yeah. Brandon Sanderson, those are meaty books. So we want to know in the comments, tell us your name and how many words you think were in the draft. And I'll be curious to see how close people get. Mine tend to run a little bit shorter. I don't know if that's a little bit of look at that. Don't forget to tell us your name, people. Tell us your name, tell us your name, tell us your name and your guess, how many words were in this thing. It's interesting. When I first started writing, I was sort of obsessed about page count because when I was in school, like you, I'm sure, and like many people watching, the teacher says, I need a 5-page short story, or I need a 5-page book report on, Fablehaven or whatever it is. And so we play with the kerning and the font size, and I was really gifted at making 7 words look like 7 pages. But really, as writers, in fact, none of my contracts with any of my publishers have ever called for page count numbers. It's all about words. How many words is a manuscript? Because trim size and everything plays such a role. So, and that's often new to readers when they are some really good guesses here. Don't forget to tell us your name. That 175K, we need a name for that. So name and how many words the manuscript is. Name and how many. Holy cow. What is that, a Price is Right thing? Someone guessed 599. Who was that? That's funny. 599,999. All right, Sheila, that's funny. All right, Catherine, I'm pulling for you, Catherine, at 85K. My good friend Catherine down in Charlottesville, Virginia. Okay. All right, so let's jump ahead here a little bit. Remember, folks, if you're commenting, to give us your name because we can't see names. So this is kind of a question, I guess, from me, but I bet a lot of folks reading or watching, following along, would wonder the same thing. The difference between fiction and historical fiction. Let's just start there. I mean, we think we all know what it is, but what is the real difference between the two? Because I've never worked in that world. Everything I've written has just been from strictly out of my noggin. So really, what is that difference, and how many liberties can you take? I guess maybe I also want to know, at what point do you fictionalize something so much that it's like, well, that's not really historical fiction anymore. Right. We've all probably seen movies based on a true story or inspired by a true story, and it feels like it has been really, really heavily fictionalized. So fire away on that for a minute. Yeah.
So obviously you could write a novel with a historical setting, set during World War II, and you can fictionalize every character, but maybe it's based on the Battle of the Bulge. Maybe just, an overseeing commander has a true name. So you can definitely be very fictional. So a couple of the books I've written, when it says based on a true story, that means I feel more of a responsibility to really dig up as much truth as I can. And if I am going to veer from a scene or something that happened that is researchable, then I'm going to put that in my author notes and say, I decided to, have them be in this location a month earlier than they would have because, for the plot. But the other thing I do with most of my historical novels is I do like chapter notes, and I have a bibliography that goes along with my research, and I'll do like either an introduction or an afterword that kind of sets the tone for the book. So for instance, with The Slow March of Light, I have kind of a summary of the Cold War events in the introduction, because if you come into it cold, no pun intended,
totally
you remember
intended.
Bits and pieces. We all know what the Berlin Wall is, and we probably have heard of the Cuban Missile Crisis, but we don't remember specifics, and so that kind of just helps set it up for the readers, I guess. With historical novels, there really is a readership out there who love historical fiction. And so it's doing them a disservice if you take a lighter approach to it. They are expecting more. And I would compare it maybe to a fantasy writer, where a fantasy writer is really building a world and a government and a religion and a society and laws and magic system. And so the readers are coming into that depending on, expecting this bigger kind of world that is being created. And the same with historical, you want to research, what are they eating? What was the weather like, during the month you're writing it, and their clothing. And and they'll have different attitudes toward life. And if I go really historical, like I've written a book based on the Queen of Sheba, and obviously women's rights were a lot different back then. So you're going to take that into consideration in your writing, and also when you're writing from the point of view of a man or a woman.
Super interesting. So like the degree of difficulty on the kinds of things that you're writing compared to the kinds of things that I'm writing, it's just, and I'm not just, this isn't like me trying to be humble. It's just, it's ridiculous how much more time and spiritual and emotional energy. I just can't even imagine what that is like. Again, when I need a character name, I think of my best friend from high school and I plug his name in. When I need a name of a restaurant, I go grab often my phone and I go through my contacts and I name the taco shop after my cousin who lives in Pensacola, Florida, or used to and just moved. So it's so different. Literally, the only fact checking I have to do is to make sure that if I've said this here, if I made this thing up, that it matches the thing that I made up 50 pages ago, right?
Well, but I do have a crutch. Like you're creating this, just like you said, out of your noggin. but you're creating everything from the top to bottom. With historical fiction, you have a foundation there. So the challenge, so that it's great because you kind of have a crutch. You kind of have, events that already happened. So now your job is just to go research and learn about them. So, but that creates.
But then you have to write it. So you're doing all of this research, and then you have to actually go, do the writing. You know how much research I do? Do I want my Diet Coke fountain style today, or do I want a can? Like, do I want a cold can, or do I want the ice to melt? Like, all of the research that goes into my writing is what I want to be drinking as I'm writing. So that's fantastic. Okay, I want to remind people that are commenting. Love the comments. Please tell us who you are. Last call to guess and tell us an exact word count on Heather's manuscript for her new book, and then she'll tell us who the winner is later on and contact people. So make sure that you are telling us who you are. Okay. Okay. Can we talk about embellishments specifically with this work then?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about not just what you needed to embellish for character arc, et cetera, but also I'd be curious to know how much of that did you counsel with the family about? Did you say, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that? Are you okay with it? Walk us through that process.
100%, because Bob and Nama was still alive and he would be reading the manuscript. So I was very careful. So my publisher came back and said, we would like to have a female main, like secondary character in this book, just to really balance out the character of Bob and to bring more experience and more insight into the Cold War. And so they said it doesn't have to be a romance. It could just be it's a friend and acquaintance. And so I had to ask Bob and his wife. I said, I know you've been happily married for many, many years, but was there a young woman that you were friends with in Germany? And I wanted to, of course, base it on any truth that I could find. And he said that there was a young woman that attended his same church in Frankfurt. And he said he would see her at socials and they were friends, but her father did not like American soldiers. And so obviously that would cut off any future relationship there. But that gave me just that kernel to go on, saying, okay, I can at least base, I created a character named Louisa. I could base Louisa on at least a true instance in Bob's life. And then then it was like, oh, is she just going to be someone that encourages him and his friends? And when he has a, hard day, he can talk to her, or is it someone that can really contribute to what was going on during the Cold War? And since Bob and Nama was there during the building of the Berlin Wall, I decided to really research that, what happened and what the atmosphere was like. And I found some really, really interesting stories about West Berliners who were helping and doing anything they could to help East Berliners escape. And so I put the Louisa character into that role. So not only is she based on someone that Bob did know for a short time. She now represents this whole group of people that did not hesitate for an instant to help these East Berliners get out of their situation.
Super cool. And you used the word socials, and that jumped out at me when I heard that on the audiobook this morning, because I was like, yeah, this is definitely not 2021.
Right. In the 60s.
Yeah. If my 17-year-old, who I'm absolutely positive is not participating in this virtual book launch, if he invited a young lady to a social, she would block him and call the authorities. There is no way anybody in today's world would use socials. That's funny you use that word in telling that, because that word jumped out at me this morning as I was racing through the audiobook. Okay, so I want to know from people that are watching, I want to know what your favorite Heather Brown Moore book is prior to this one, because this will be your new favorite, obviously. So of her 74, how many? 75,
70 something.
She doesn't even count because she is so prolific. I know exactly how many I've written and how many words they are, because they're 4, because I'm not as prolific as you are. But I want people to tell us what your favorite book is. I know from scrolling through these names that you do have a lot of loyal fans that are on right now. So I would just be curious to know, people that are following along, what your favorite book is from her career across several different genres, whether it was published traditionally or through your own press. I would love to know what people have liked. So let's see what comments pop up. Oh, Ruth. Yeah, I bet my wife would probably say Ruth as well. Finding Sheba. Power of the Matchmaker. Interesting. Keep commenting, folks, on your favorites Heather Brown Moore book.
Oh, and did we tell them what the prizes were?
No, they don't care. They just want free stuff. Come on, Heather.
I'm gonna show you what. So okay, I'm gonna spill the beans.
Spill the beans.
So this book, Paper Daughters of Chinatown, we can give away, I think, up to 3 of these, and you can choose hardcover, audio, or ebook. And also, as a special, just special surprise, is Jason has a book coming out in the spring called Even the Dog Knows, and the publisher, when they get the ARCs ready, then they're going to mail those out. So it might be another month or 2, but we'll have your name down and we'll make sure that those get to you. So those will also be prizes. Yes.
And if I win, I want E.B. Stevens. I hope E.B. Stevens is listening right now. E.B. Stevens, if you're out there somewhere in the world and you're watching, I want you to read to me Paper Daughters of Chinatown. That's what I want. That is my personal prize, is for a personal reading from E.B. Stevens. The Healing Summer. That's not one I've heard of.
So the Healing Summer is actually, if you get the Soul March of Light this week and you go to the Shadow Mountain page, or I have the link posted everywhere too, you can receive the launch bundle, and that includes the Healing Summer for free. Very cool. Anything else in the launch bundle we need to know about? It had the first 500 get a mystery arc, and I really don't know what it is.
Does everyone watching know what an arc is? I bet they don't.
Yeah, an advanced reader copy. So, but this, I think, so sometimes you'll get these books in advance, and they may still have typos in it. They haven't even been through like the final proofreading, but it's 99% the same story. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. And when does that opportunity go to bed? Like, when do they need to? So between now and September 11th. Okay. So this week. Yeah, this week. Got it. Very nice. So launch week, they get a little bit of swag from the publisher. Very cool. And all the details are on the website, you said, on how to do their proof of purchase and all that. Yeah. Oh, and this is just a little aside. Some people are saying the Healing Summer. So the Healing Summer I put out this year in March on my own. And it was actually a book I pitched originally when I was pitching, when we decided to do Paper Daughters of Chinatown. but I decided just to finish the book on my own, and I put it out. And it's about a woman who's 40 and a woman who's 93, and they go on a road trip together, and they find, you know, the answers to both of their lives and the closure that they need.
So that's fiction, or that's historic fiction?
It's in the 80s, set in the 80s. So,
but is it based on a story that you were aware of, or no?
No, it's just made up. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool. People asking about website links. Can we make sure we get all those to people? Excellent. All right. I see a few new names popping up. Please tell us who you are as you comment. Some of you, we see your name, but many of you, we only see Facebook user. So if you're commenting and you don't see your name, make sure that you add your name so we know who to contact with your free goodies. Also, we've probably had enough people hop on that we just need to say again, we're here because it's Happy Book Birthday Day for Heather and her brand new book. And I want to ask you the elevator pitch question.
Okay.
You have 15 seconds to tell us what the book is about. This isn't even jacket copy or Amazon, title description. So 15 seconds, Heather Brown Moore, what is your new book about?
Okay, it's based on a true story about a man named Bob Inama, who was drafted into the Army in the 1960s, and he was asked to go undercover as a spy into East Germany, and his job is to plot nuclear targets for the U.S., and he gets caught and put into prison.
Boom.
And I don't have my tie-up sentence there. I'd have to look at the book.
That was perfect. It's hard to do sometimes, isn't it? Someone asked me actually at church of all places the other day what the new novel Leaving the Dog Knows is about, and I tried to do what you just did, and 14 minutes later I looked up and she was gone. She had left. She was.
Well, you can kind of see in their eyes if they're how interested they are. Mm-hmm. They start like looking away, and you're like, okay, I'm done telling you.
Yeah. So speaking of reactions, what did Bob say when he read the book? What was his reaction, and where were you? How did that happen? Was it a call? Was it an email? It sounds like he'd been reading along. So what was his reaction to the seeing this? Well,
he hadn't exactly read along. So what happened is I told him in March, I said, I'm going to do research for about 2 weeks, and then early April, I'm going to be emailing you probably twice a week. And I really would like your return answers within like a day or two. Like I said, it's going to go, once I start, it's going to go really fast. As far as
when was this again?
So this was like very beginning of April in 2020. And
so you started writing in
probably middle of March is when we had our meeting, and I started doing the research and started drafting, but I needed to have enough drafted to know what questions I needed to ask him.
Okay.
As we went along. So what was your original question?
So then you started feeding him some stuff quickly. Yeah. And what were the reactions like?
So there's a couple times I would send him a scene and I said, is this okay? But that was just probably a couple times. And then when I had drafted the whole book, I had Patrick Wick, who had served in the U.S. Army in the early 1970s, and Donna Weaver, who had also served in West Germany in the Army in the 1970s. So I had them both read it. And so I could have like kind of two experts make sure I was getting certain things right. Because I had done a lot of research. I had asked Bob a lot of questions, but I didn't want to send something that wasn't, polished. So I printed off the manuscript in like a larger type, and I bound it and I mailed it to him and his wife. And I don't feel like it took that long. It was maybe 2 weeks. And they emailed me back and just said he loved it. And he had one correction.
Oh, wow.
And I had put the wrong initial for his dad's name in the introduction, but he didn't have any other feedback. And I think on the first level is because he just is such a sweet man. But on the second level, I think it's because I had been asking him questions and correcting as I went along. And so I had it, but his wife did say, when we were at the interview in June with him, she said, we really feel like you captured Bob's personality, which we felt like was the most important thing.
I mean, that's all the feedback you need, right? I mean,
Right.
that's worth 1 million Amazon
Yeah.
reviews or Goodreads or whatever. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, we're slowly marching toward the end. You see what I did there, Heather?
Yes.
Slowly
Good
march.
job.
You see? Thank you. So I want to let's throw it out and see if anyone in the comments has a question as we wrap up here. If you have a burning question that you would love to ask Heather about the book, about her career, about previous books, about what's coming next, about her favorite flavor of ice cream, anything at all, any questions at all. I'm looking at you, Michelle Wilson. Any questions, anything at all,
Hi, Michelle.
Just throw it out there. It's really cool. By the way, while we're waiting for a question, let me just say that there is in the world within this particular publisher, Shadow Mountain, there is quite a brotherhood, sisterhood of writers who are just so supportive of one another. And I think it's neat to see that there are a number of colleagues here who have been all throughout the comments today, congratulating you and wishing you the very best on your launch day. You know, it's a competitive industry like any other. So we all want to sell books. We need to sell books. We need to find, our own audience, but there's something about the kind of fiction that many of these people in the comments write, and certainly the kinds of books that you and I write, that we, we cheer for each other, and I think genuinely lift one another up in their successes.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
I agree. I mean, if you think about readers, if you're an avid reader, you're not just reading a book a year. You're reading a book a week usually. And so I feel like there's plenty of room and plenty of authors, plenty of books that we could all help each other out.
Yeah, very, very true. So there are some questions that probably go back. So to some of you are asking questions that you'll find answered if you rewatch this, and it will be available, right?
Right. Yes.
So we won't necessarily go back. Sorry, we love you. But Stephanie wants to order the book straight from Deseret Book. When will it be available? The answer is
today.
It is Happy Book Birthday today. Diane wants to know your favorite book.
Oh, that I've written?
Yeah.
I think I would say my book called Condemn Me Not is based on my ancestor, my 10th great grandmother, who was accused of witchcraft in the Salem witch trials. And I think it's because that for about 4 years, I wanted to write that book. And I finally wrote it, and I still get emails, and it's been out for maybe 5 years. I still get emails about that book. And anyway, so I think it was kind of a passion project. And so I think that's why it meant so much to me.
Very cool. Someone wants to know how long the draft took to write. Should we close with one more little giveaway, Heather?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So all of you smarty pants in the comments, tell us how many days it took. We're counting. She wrote she wrote and wrote and wrote and walked like pioneers do for many days. And we came up earlier today with a pretty close number of how many writing days there were, writing/research days, right? Mm-hmm. So, folks in the comments, give us a number. We want your name and a number. Michelle, we want a name and a number. Louise, name and a number. Louise read 250 books last year. My heavens. John, do you want to answer John's question while people give us a name and a number? What made you consider writing in the first place?
It's kind of interesting, but I was 30 and I was working on my grandma's personal history, and I was driving up there once a week. She lived about 30 minutes from me. And I just, from doing that, she grew up in World War II era, I had a story idea. And that was like and she had always told me, just writing letters, you're such a good writer, you should write a children's book. So maybe it was her encouragement. It was my I love to read. I never thought about being a writer because to me that was homework. But I started writing this story and it just turned into 300 pages of pretty much dribble, but I was hooked. And I was 30. So. And
you were 30. So that was 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was 6 months ago.
Yeah. Oh, 6 months. Okay. Well, okay. Some good guesses coming in. Last chance. Give us your guess on how many days. How many days did she spend? Now they're flying in. Come on, people. Give us your name. How many days? Name and days. Name and days.
There's a couple really close.
Yeah, there are. There are a couple really close. Yeah. Would you say, as people are continuing to answer this question, would you say that this is a pretty good average? Longer or shorter than your other 70 some odd books?
It was a little bit on the longer side for me. I just spent 6 full months reading and researching my next book for Shadow Mountain, and I've never done full months or that many months where I haven't worked on any other project. Oh, wow.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. When you told me the number, I thought, yeah, that's the difference between her books and mine. Because mine are so short and so simple that I can, yeah.
But it just shows that you just have a talent for that. Like someone else that would not be short and simple to do what you've done. It just shows that is where your talent lies.
Well, you're kind, and there are some very good guesses coming in. Okay, last call for your name and the number of days that you think that it took our friend Heather to write. And let me close with a thought, and then Heather, you can give us your final goodbyes. I cannot overemphasize this point. People, are you watching? I'm looking into this is me. I am locking into your eyes. Okay. The very best thing that you can do for a writer is to buy the book, and to buy it this week. Even if you know you're not going to have time to read the book because you're working 7 shifts and traveling and on vacation and life is hectic, or you're caring for someone and just life is really, really crazy right now. If you can, still buy the book this week. It is so, so important for a book. I had an experience with a book many moons ago that didn't connect very quickly. And so by the end of like day 10, after the book launched, books were already being shipped back to the warehouse. Bookstores, Amazon, everyone, they have short attention spans. So it's really important that books start big and that you pick it up. Now, the other thing that you need to do is talk about the book. Just talk about the book. Talk about the book until your neighbors are sick of you talking about the book. We share, as human beings in this world, we share what matters most to us, whether it's our favorite restaurant or pictures of our grandkids or our faith. And in the case of a book, if a book moves you, if you believe that Heather's book will bless the life of someone else, will inspire someone else, will be a blessing to his family, to Bob's family, then the most important thing you can do is to talk about that. Go on social media, talk to your friends at church, talk to your friends in the backyard, go to the park, get a billboard if you have to, get a megaphone, rent one of those little buses, not a really big bus, that's dangerous, just a small bus, get on top, maybe duct tape yourself to the top with the megaphone and say, "Did you know Heather Broadmoor's new book is out?" Throw candy if you have to. Those are the things that really help an author during the first week of a book launch. So I hope that all of you will do those things. Someone is saying that Amazon says the book is out of stock. Did you see that?
I think you can still order though, and it will just ship. So my publisher assured me that Amazon has plenty of copies, but sometimes if they're not actively boxing and shipping, they'll say audit, but you can still order.
Okay. Yeah. Don't panic.
Yeah. It's there. They're just working on it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Michelle bought a book. Karen grabbed duct tape.
Michelle.
This is great. Karen, I hope that you also buy the book.
Okay. Karen would literally do that. So I'm not responsible for Karen Adair doing the bus. Okay.
what do you want to do about answers and giveaways as we say goodbye? How do you want to deal with that, Heather?
So how about tonight? The other reason I did this in the middle of the day is I hope my daughter Rose knows how special she is, but she has a volleyball game tonight. So that's why I don't want to miss it. So after the volleyball game, I'll choose winners and post them on all the different places this is, so everybody will know. And then you can message me privately and I will send your information to my publisher. And
it sounds like you'll have a choice of a couple of different options. So, right?
Yep. So we're giving away arcs of Jason's upcoming book, Even the Dog Knows, and then also Paper Daughters. And the reason I'm not doing the So Much of Light is because I don't want you to wait to find out if you win before you buy the book. Oh, and if you are an ebook reader, the book is only $5.99 on Kindle and $5.99 on Nook this week, which is a huge bonus for my publisher to discount it for release week. So it will go up on Monday.
A lot of publishers will not do that. They just flat out won't do that. So kudos to the team at Shadow Mountain for being supportive of that. Thank you to Troy for helping to put all this together, to Chris, to Heidi, to all of the wonderful folks there in that building, to Laurel Christensen Day. And we're grateful for you for tuning in the middle of the day to support Heather Brown Moore. You just have to say the whole thing.
Yes, it's okay.
Does it make you sound like a serial killer? It kind of does, but that's okay. It's okay, because we know you're not. Thanks, Heather, for asking me. You're a gem. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.